We have been staying in British Columbia in the middle of winter, where the temperature has been getting into the single digits. Can this $9 moving blanket really save us from frigid nights in the van? Stay tuned to find out.
Can you really leave a stable medical career in a 1,200 square foot home in Florida to live in a self-converted campervan with less than 75 square feet? We're Igor and Amanda, and we did exactly that. Since February of 2025, we've been traveling in North America with our two dogs, Rocket and Gabby, in tow. Whether we're snowboarding down mountain peaks, hiking through national parks, or reconnecting with old friends, we're on a mission to live life without regret. So subscribe and join us as we push our boundaries while navigating the highs and lows of life on the road. Hopefully, we inspire you to chase your own adventures.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Wagon Trails. I am Amanda. I am flying solo today and I'm working on a project. If you saw our last YouTube video, you know that recently our van, Mark Vanthony, had some winterization done by Lee at Labyrinth Overland in Grand Junction, Colorado. One of the other things that he suggested was buying or making a insulated curtain or divider for the cab section of the van, because we lose a lot of heat. It probably would help us in the summer as well, but I have noticed that it stays colder up front. So what I've been doing today is kind of brainstorming different options for a curtain to separate, to hang up at night. Something that's going to just kind of close off this area, and this is where the dogs like to sleep. So that's going to keep them extra warm as well. I hate thinking that they're cold. They never act like they're cold. I know they're wearing fur coats. I really just want to make sure that they are warm. I think it's going to help the heat circulate throughout the van, front to back, and nobody's up in the cab at night anyways. So this is something that was a little tricky because we aren't at home. I don't have access to a sewing machine or a lot of supplies. So I was kind of brainstorming different ways to make this happen, and I was originally thinking I was going to get a blanket, maybe like a moving blanket, and buy some insulation, maybe something that would go inside of a quilt or a blanket. I even saw online someone had suggested like an emergency blanket, but I don't know how well that would wash. And then maybe some blackout curtains and sew them together. I ended up buying this moving blanket at Harbor Freight, and it was like $8.99, so super cheap. And honestly, with as thick as it is, but still fairly lightweight, I think that this is going to work on its own. And I've bought some heavy duty magnets. I'm going to and some fabric, and I'm just going to make little fabric pockets for the magnets, and I'm going to sew those onto each corner. And hopefully this is going to work out. This blanket is not exactly the dimensions of the space. It's a little bit bigger, so I'm gonna measure it out. I might fold up the bottom and maybe use some fabric adhesive, or I think it's gonna take a long time to sew by hand, like that whole thing. When we get home, I may revamp or completely redo this, but we're gonna see if this works for our needs this winter. First, I measured the length and width needed to fully cover the cab of the van and marked those measurements on the blanket. I checked and double checked to make sure I got things right, because Igor has taught me measure twice and cut, or in this case, sew once. blanket is about 12 inches too long from top to bottom of the van, so I'm just gonna fold it over and pin it, and I'm gonna, I think, glue it for now. Now we're gonna remeasure. Make sure this works before we glue or sew anything. Okay, so even though I measured before, I pinned the wrong side of the blanket, the shorter side, so it's way too short. And I don't know how I did that, but am I surprised? I'm using my pajama pants as a pin cushion. Okay, let's try this again. All right, length is perfect. Okay, so I've decided to use this Aleene's Fabric Fusion since I don't have access to a sewing machine. Hopefully this works. I seriously underestimated how much of this I'm gonna need. I just bought this tiny little bottle. So I'm definitely gonna have to go back to, I think I got this at Walmart, and get a bigger bottle. But since I got the measurement correct the second time for the length, I'm going ahead and getting this glued. All right, Aleene, let's see if your Fabric Fusion is gonna do its stuff. Before I work on securing the fasteners, which I still think are gonna be magnets, but I may end up using hooks or something. But this looks good so far, so let's keep going. I'm just pinning it very, very frequently after I've glued it so it's secured in place, because it does take about 2 hours to dry, it says. I want to make sure that it's secure. Ow! Well, I made it halfway through before I stabbed myself with a pin. That should be surprising to all of us. Quick update. I did go buy some more fabric adhesive, but luckily I didn't open it because it doesn't work at all. Maybe it works for other things. It listed all kinds of fabrics. I don't know, but it's not working at all. So I'm just doing a really rough stitch along the bottom with some thick thread, which is a bummer, but we're gonna make it work, and more to come. All right, after many trials and tribulations over the past week, I am finally done with my do-it-yourself makeshift insulation curtain made out of a moving blanket from Harbor Freight. And as I said before earlier in the video, the fabric adhesive did not work at all, so I have a very rough stitch along the bottom to make it, because it was very long. So it's the perfect length now. I have sewn some heavy-duty magnets on all of the four corners there underneath this fabric that I got for like $2. Of course it's Nightmare Before Christmas, because yes. And I sewed around those as well. So now, because it's going to be very cold tonight in Butte, Montana, we are going to debut our insulation curtain. Let's see how this works. Very quick and dirty, on the road fix. But I think this is gonna help a lot, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I think
It's
it'll.
not sealed off completely, but
No, I think that'll keep the cold drafts in the front of the cabin and keep the heat more back here where the heat sources are and where we're staying at night.
yeah. You can even move that over a little bit more, I think. There you go.
Good job.
Thank you. Rocket's like, what the heck?
There's little room to film here, so. What do you think, Rocket? Rocket, what do you think? Rocket's not having it. He's like, how am I going to protect you if I can't see outside?
Good evening from Revelstoke, British Columbia. Here the temperatures have been in the single digits every single night. It's been snowing a lot, so I thought this was the perfect time to hop back on to let you all know how our insulated curtain has been working, which is wonderfully. So we've been using it every single night, and it's made a huge difference in just the overall warmth in the van. So for a total of, I think, $25 and maybe like all told 4 hours of labor, really can't beat our insulated curtain. Maybe we'll revamp it when we're home, or maybe we'll just continue to use this because it's really, really helping. Thanks again for watching another episode of Wagon Trails. As you can hear, Rocket is saying thank you as well, and he wants lots of attention. We got Gabby and Rocket here as always, but it means the world to us that you all watch our videos. Make sure that you give us a like if you enjoyed this content. Hit subscribe so you can see more like this, and consider sharing this video with someone you know. Thank you so much.